Okay, so I have a hobby that some people might find very strange, but I love it. When I'm less busy, I don't always watch a movie or play video games. I just go to online shops and I look at the prices of secondhand products. Not because I want to buy them, but I always want to know what's happening to the prices of older products, especially in the secondhand marketplaces. So 3 days ago, I came across the first iPhone that I ever owned in my life, the iPhone XR. I looked at the prices of the pre-owned iPhone and then I asked myself, will people still want to buy this phone? Will some people still love it? Or do some people just think that they might love it? Okay, let me just ask you this. Are you thinking about buying an iPhone XR in 2025? Maybe you found a good deal, or you're just curious if this older iPhone is still worth it. You're definitely going to make a choice after watching this video, but I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just giving you the facts and my thoughts so you can decide for yourself. First, let's rewind a bit. The iPhone XR came out in 2018. That's 7 years ago by 2025. 7 years in the tech world is like a lifetime. But hey, some older phones age like fine wine, right? So, is the XR one of them? Okay, let's start with the obvious. In 2025, the iPhone XR has become way cheaper compared to the latest iPhones. So if you want to buy an iPhone, whether it's new, refurbished, or pre-owned, but you're on a tight budget, the XR might sound like a steal. The new phones are already making noise in the market. The iPhone 16e is already announced and everyone is talking about it.
Today, we're excited to complete the iPhone 16 family. This is iPhone 16e.
Everyone is also talking about the iPhone 17 Air and its design. But do you know what that also means? It also means that the price of iPhone XR is going down as more phones are released and more years go by. So it's a very good time to buy it quickly if you're on a tight budget. But here's the thing, just because it's cheap doesn't always mean it's worth it. You've got to ask yourself, what do you really need from a phone? That question is very important. The iPhone XR has the A12 Bionic chip. Back in 2018, this thing was a beast. It was fast, smooth, and handled everything like a champ. But does it still perform like a beast in 2025? Well, apps and software keep getting more demanding. The A12 might still work for basic stuff like social media, texting, and browsing, but don't expect it to handle heavy gaming or multitasking like the newer iPhones. It might start to feel a little slow, especially if you're used to faster phones. And here's another big question. Will the iPhone XR still get updates in 2025? Apple is pretty good at supporting older devices, but there's a limit. Yes, the XR is still getting iOS updates. I updated mine to iOS 18 back in November 2024, but I just switched back because, honestly, the iOS 18 isn't such a big deal to me, at least not yet. But your XR will not be receiving future updates. It's going to be left behind. That means no new features. And over time, some apps might stop working properly. If you're okay with that, cool. But if you want the latest software, this might not be the phone for you. The iPhone XR is not waterproof. Actually, no iPhone is waterproof, but it does have some level of water resistance. So, what's the difference? Well, waterproof means it can handle being submerged in water for a long time without any damage. Water resistant means it can handle a little water, but there are limits, and those limits are important to know. The iPhone XR has an IP67 rating. Let me explain what that means. The IP stands for Ingress Protection, which is just a fancy way of saying how well the phone is protected against stuff like dust and water. The 6 means it's totally dust tight. No dust is getting in there. The 7 is the water resistance rating. According to Apple, the iPhone XR can handle being submerged in up to 1 meter, about 3 feet of water for up to 30 minutes. That means if you accidentally drop it in a sink, a pool, or even a puddle, it should be okay as long as you fish it out quickly. But here's the thing, this rating is based on lab tests with clean, fresh water. Real life situations can be a lot messier, so be careful. Now I can't help but talk about the camera. The iPhone XR has a single 12 megapixel camera. It's not bad honestly, it takes decent photos, especially in good lighting. But compared to newer iPhones with multiple lenses, night mode, and better AI features, the XR's camera is definitely showing its age. If you're someone who loves taking photos, you might feel like you're missing out. Battery life is another thing to think about. The iPhone XR had great battery life when it first came out. But after 7 years, the battery health is probably not as great as it used to be. You might need to replace the battery, which costs extra. And even with a new battery, it won't last as long as the newer iPhones with more efficient chips. If you are a gamer, you might be wondering how long the battery lasts while playing games. I normally spend about 2.5 hours playing Call of Duty Mobile, and sometimes I spend hours playing FC Mobile. The gaming performance is still smooth, to be honest. It looks far better than many Android phones in the same price range as the iPhone XR. I'm not saying this to trigger any competition, I just need to point it out because I've been impressed with how good Apple made their chips, and how well it can handle the new apps, even though it's a chip that was made in 2018. There are three kinds of people in this world: people who like big phones, people who like small phones, and people who love both. So, let's talk about size and display. The iPhone XR has a 6.1-inch LCD display. It's not OLED, so the colors aren't as vibrant as newer iPhones, but it's still a decent screen for everyday use. I've heard some people saying that the XR design is also a bit outdated by 2025 standards, but for me, it's not really outdated to me. In fact, I hate the 2025 standard of designs. I hate this new era of making phones with gigantic cameras all over the back. And the cameras just keep adding up. The sizes just keep getting bigger and bigger. Honestly, I really love the simple design that came with the iPhone XR, although it doesn't come with thick bezels, and no fancy dynamic island like the newer models. But hey, if you don't care about that stuff, it's still a solid design. The iPhone XR might be a few years old, but it still holds up surprisingly well in 2025, especially when it comes to convenience features like wireless charging. It supports Qi wireless charging, meaning you can just drop it on a compatible charging pad and forget about dealing with cables. Even though newer iPhones have MagSafe, the XR's wireless charging still works with most modern Qi chargers, so it is not like you're missing out in a major way. So, should you buy the iPhone XR in 2025? Here's my take. If you're on a tight budget and just need a phone for basic tasks, the XR could still work for you. It's cheap and it'll get the job done. But if you want something that's future-proof, with better performance, better camera, and software support, you might want to look at newer models, even if they're a bit more expensive. At the end of the day, it depends on what you need and how much you're willing to spend. The iPhone XR is a great phone, but it's definitely showing its age. If you're okay with that, go for it. But if you want something that will last you longer in terms of support, you might want to consider other options. The iPhone XR was a fantastic phone in its time, and it's still not a bad choice in 2025 if you're looking for something affordable. But technology moves fast, and there are better options out there if you're willing to spend a little more. Think about what you really need from a phone and make the decision that's right for you. Alright, that's it guys, let me know what you think. Would you buy the iPhone XR in 2025, or is it time to move on? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.